Hi there, Zach here and Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange. Let's talk about Doctor Strange. It seems to be the cool, popular thing to do. Let's just talk about Doctor Strange here. And me being a Marvel fan that some of you might already know, whoopsie, sorry about that. I did definitely go out and watch this. I watched this the day after it came out, and I've been kind of sitting here thinking, is it actually that good? Now, don't get me wrong. Simply for the fact that this is the most popular movie, it seems like right now. Everyone's giving it glowing reviews. 10 out of 10, 9 out of 10, 8 out of 10. And I'm not saying I'm not giving it a bad one. I'm just saying I'm giving it like a dim. It's not glowing. It's like a dying light. It's not like the sun, but it's not like a D cell like flashlight battery either. It's okay. And I want to kind of go through why I think that way. Simply because, internet's full of different people with different opinions, and you can anonymously hate somebody for not liking a movie that you like. So let's give you guys another target to go after. And before we really start this, I just want to tell the plot to some people here, since some of them might not know who Doctor Strange is, because let's all be fair, he's kind of a B-list superhero. Now, to all those fans out there of him, I'm not saying he's a bad superhero. He's actually one of the most complex, in my opinion. But let's be fair, not a lot of people knew who Doctor Strange was before this movie. Let's just be fair with each other, okay? I'm not gonna bullshit you, don't bullshit me, okay? But the movie is basically about Dr. Stephen Strange. And his story is pretty simple, yet still, like I said, very complex in my opinion. He is a very well-skilled surgeon, and one day, depending on which universe you go to, he's driving and he's either drinking because he's troubled and a tortured soul, or else he's just too busy talking, chilling, and he's just not paying attention. And whoop, there it goes. His car kind of rolls down the ravine and he basically fucks up his hands. So his hands, he gets the shakes like an alcoholic who hasn't had alcohol in a few days. But speaking of which, yeah, look at that. Steady. But anyway, after that, he finds out that there's other people out there who have fixed some very permanent paralysis issues, and he tries to figure out how they do it. So he goes over, and this one, he only picked one person, and the guy basically said, look, my body shut down on me, so I went out to expand my brain. And it brought me to this one place where they taught me, my inner self, and that's how I got over it. So knowing that this is pretty much his last way, because in most comics and or cartoons, he wastes all of his money trying to fix his hands through traditional methods. This one, that's actually one con. I know I haven't even gotten to the pros and cons list, but that's one thing that kind of, I'm not gonna say irritated. If you looked at some of the other comics and or cartoons out there, now I'm not gonna bullshit with anybody here. I've only seen some of the cartoons and some of kind of the full length movie anime type cartoons. I haven't read any of his comics, but I have read comics when I was younger, and he was introduced into a comic that I was reading. So I do know a little bit about him, but mainly from those movie cartoon type things. But basically, in this movie, it shows him his ex-lover or something comes in, and she's like, at first you've made so much money you didn't know what to do with. Now you're spending money that you don't even have, and that's all they really say. There's no other scene showing him having trouble. It's just one woman comes in there and throws up the exposition on you. All right, fine, whatever, we heard it. Let me just give you an example. In one of the cartoons, I think it's just called Doctor Strange the Magnificent Sorcerer, or I think it's something along those lines. And it goes through a couple different scenes where he's talking on the phone please, for the love of God, I need this. I need my hands. I love doing my job. And then they're just like, not until we get some fucking money from you, you bum. And then he hangs it up and he throws his monitor on the ground and he screams up to the sky like they do in any kind of dramatic type movie. This one is just one passing by sentence, whatever. It's not a huge deal. But besides that, he goes and finds this dojo type place. He finds someone called the Ancient One, and the Ancient One kind of explains, that he's been teaching people how to use magic, like sorcery. And I mean, long story short, it's the same thing like everything that you have ever seen. Oh, this person has a strong being inside of him, and I can feel it. So we should really train him. Well, we shouldn't train him because what if he turns to the dark side instead of using in the light side? I don't care. I'm going to train him anyways. It goes on and on and on, and then at the very end, he fights a being of ultimate power who no one's been able to fight before except this new guy is. You understand what it is. Basic plot. Very well put together, though. Very well put together. Now let me go into the pros and cons list. I'm going to start with the pros, so the people who are sitting there gritting their teeth and are just waiting to jump down my throat. Hold on. I'll do pros first to kind of lull you guys into watching a few more minutes, and then you can start leaving comments and whatnot. 1. The acting in this is spectacular. Now, not all the acting, but the ones that matter. The ancient one, I don't know who plays that one, but she did really great. Benedict Cumberbatch, to be fair, like, I've always seen him as a posh British man, and he only does rom-coms and Sherlock Holmes, and he always seemed like a very posh, kind of fey actor. Not in this at all. He actually pulled off an American accent beautifully. If I didn't know that he was 100% British, oh, I would be like, oh, that's a great American actor. Go America, bald eagle and such. And then him actually acting badass. It worked out really well. He did do very well in that. 2, the way that they provoke, or they kind of introduce the magic that's in this world and kind of explain, like, we are the Guardians. The Avengers attack anything that's physical. We more or less defend the corporeal and like just the magical side of everything. And it was really cool how they mentioned it. It was just really neat to see somebody who went full science. Like, this guy only has known science. He has only known what science can do, and magic was that hocus pocus. And then he comes in and he's just like, oh, there's no such thing as magic. Boom, ha, boom, boom, like fireworks coming out of people's fingertips. And then he's like, oh God, it's kind of like, if you've ever been in a fight with an atheist and a Christian and you're just kind of the third person, like, can't we just watch this movie and not talk about shit like that? Nope. They have to talk about it, and one person has to say, no, it's your soul, it's your feeling, something inside of you that you can't see. And the atheist is like, bullshit, you can see everything. That's what science has done. Science is awesome. And you can see it, and then you're just sitting there like, I just can't. Are we out of popcorn? Let me go get more popcorn. And speaking of this corporeal magic type stuff, number 3 would be the magic is insane visually. Oh my God. It's so cool to see them like make glyphs, and then it follows their hands, and then they push it out. But the best part, and this part was almost worth the $8 plus the $8 extra for the food and, the popcorn and pop, whatever. It's this trippy part. Like, he takes some tea. The ancient one comes over here. He's like, oh, here's some tea. He drinks some tea. And just like, he actually said it, like, oh, is this laced with drugs? Because he goes on the craziest fucking trip I have ever seen in my entire life. Like, I have seen art house films and mainstream films where they do kind of like a trippy part and things are psychedelic and things start moving that shouldn't be moving. Okay, cool. That was all really neat. This really fucking blew my mind. Like, where else can you have a guy looking at his hands, and then his fingernails turn into hands, and then those fingernails turn into more hands, and it just keeps spreading. It was nightmare fuel, but it was so cool. Literally, I was just, I had no words, and I looked over at my friend, and he did the same thing. He's like, what are we supposed to do here? Am I supposed to be more amazed or freaked the fuck out? I don't know. I was in the middle, but it was awesome. It was absolutely amazing. Stunning visual. Stunning. And the final thing I would like to kind of go over is the final fight with the Lord and Master Dormammu, the Lord of the Dark Area, or the Dark Universe or planet. I can't remember what the fuck it is. He's kind of this huge being, one of those Galactus types, where his eye is 3 times bigger than your actual body. And for some reason, it looks like he just fell asleep on a pillow with, like, lines, like corduroy pillows, because it's just fucking lines all in his face. Whatever. It looked cool. He still looked cool. And the final battle was something that you couldn't really see. It's not like Doctor Strange in a month or 2 that he was in this little dojo type place, that he got all this power, and he got all this, he's greater than the mightiest evil villain. He knew he wasn't that great. He knew he couldn't beat this giant fucking being. So he outsmarted him. And I'm not going to go into detail how he outsmarted him, because this movie, with all the cons I'm going to be listing afterwards, is very good, and I would respect everybody to go see it. I would tell everyone to go see it, because it is good, but there are some negatives to it. And let's go into those negatives, huh? Huh? Now you can fucking leave if you want to leave right now. I don't give a shit. I just, if you're just here to fucking look for more people who love the movie with no issues, then fucking, you can go now. Okay. Con number 1. Now, this one's going to be very opinionated, so don't take this with just the slightest grain of salt. I have seen other cartoons and movies with him in it, like I have mentioned before, and I like how he is portrayed in those ones, simply for the fact that they show him as more of a tortured soul than this cocky, arrogant, backup for a Tony Stark. Like, in this movie, he's Tony Stark. He's a smart man. He gets women, not as much as probably Tony, but he gets women because he's so successful and smart. He's really talented. And he makes quips as many times as he can. He just makes joke after joke after joke, typically sarcastically, just like Robert Downey Jr. does for Tony Stark. Which is fine. I mean, it's Marvel's cornerstone. Like, they like putting humor in there so it's not all dark and dreary. But some people work better with it. Let me give you one example before I move on from this completely. One of the movies I was mentioning before, he was a surgeon, and he was happy at one point. And when he was studying to be the best surgeon ever, his sister got diagnosed with, I don't know, a tumor. I can't remember what it was. It was either a cancerous tumor or something along those lines. And he's like, oh, I'll take care of you. Don't worry, because they didn't have the money to hire an actual doctor. So he just kind of did it, for free. And he's like, I'll take care of you. Don't you worry about it. He put her under, and he killed her. Like, it wasn't really obvious if he's the one that actually killed her, or he just couldn't do the job correctly enough and she just died from her illnesses. But how fucked up is that? That would make way more sense to have kind of a brooding character, because there's a reason why he's upset. It's not like Batman vs. Superman, where they're just both angry about everything. It's nothing like that. He has a legitimate reason, and it works better because at the very end, he gets happy from helping other people out with their issues. There's a flow, and it's so good. This one, it was quip after quip after quip after quip. Going into Con 2, that was kind of one of the reasons why I didn't quite like him as much as others. Just because, and it's not because I have a certain aspect that I wanted him to be and he wasn't that. It's simply for the fact that 60% of his humor was just, like there's one time where he's trying to talk to the kind of librarian of these mystic books named Wang. It's either Wang or I'm gonna say Wong. I'm pretty sure it's Wong. And he just keeps trying to make him laugh, and Wong's just stone-faced because he's an adult and he wants to do his job, and he doesn't want this guy cracking jokes at him. And he makes pop culture references like Cher, and he looks at him like, and then he's like, you cannot tell me you don't know Cher. Everyone knows Cher, even though this guy's like a Tibetan monk in the middle of bumfuck nowhere. It's like, okay, yes, he doesn't smile, he doesn't laugh, he doesn't know, he's a fish out of water humor. Can we go on, please? Con number 3 is pretty short and sweet. I kind of wish that there was multiple disciplines or multiple types of magic. The only magic that we ever see from both the evil and the good side is like time warp. Like they warp stuff into play, like weapons or shields or shit like that. I kind of wish that we would see fire coming out of the air or something like that. Fire, you see time manipulation, dimension jumping, kind of everything that has to do with time and reality, but nothing really else. I don't know if in any of the comic books of his or anything, if there are any different type of disciplines, but it would have been cool just to see different ones, so different people could seem like they're all different, besides all the same thing, like copy paste, copy paste, copy paste. Number 4? I think it's con number 4 or 5. I'm just gonna say con from now on, so I don't forget. Some of the reactions in this acting movie were fucking unbelievable. Just unbelievable. Like, I'm gonna give you the perfect example because I can mention a couple of them here. I'm gonna give you the perfect example. He learns a lot of his powers. He learns how to astral project himself out of his body and make wormholes that will go different places. So he got shot with an arrow by one of the enemies. He made a wormhole. He jumped through it to the hospital that he was at before, that he worked with, and he went to an ex-lover of his that was also like a surgeon or some sort of doctor, and he gets put on the table and he flatlines, but he's not really dead. He kind of astral projects himself out because another astral projection is coming to kill him, and so he's trying to defend himself. And like, she's the woman's like, oh hell no, and then she like pulls up a cart and zaps him, and then he finds out when he gets zapped that apparently his ghost soul turns Super Saiyan for a moment and zaps back everybody that's near him, all the other astral projection people, aka the one guy. And he's like, oh shit, that's a great way for me to fight him. I can't fight him by myself because I'm not trained that well yet. So he rips open a dimension that his ghost self can talk to his ex-lover. And yeah, she's like, oh god, what's going on? What the fuck, did I kill you? Is this your ghost? Are you gonna haunt me? She does all that stuff, but she kind of plays it kind of low. Like, I would be flipping the fuck out and running out, but she's just like, oh, what's this now? Like a second of fear and then like curiosity. And basically he's like, okay, just keep cranking it up, keep zapping me, but you're not, but you're alive right now. Just keep zapping me, damn it. He kills the other guy. He gets back in his body. She stitches him up. He's like, look, I need to go. I need to go again. I'm sorry about leaving you before, but I need to go again. And she's like, that's not fair. You can't just leave me again without telling me what's going on. And he's like, all right, fine. There's this crazy guy named Dormammu, and he's going to attack the entire world, and we're all going to die unless I jump through dimensions and then fight him. And then once I fight him, maybe things are going to end out well. And you know what she says? Oh, well, you don't have to tell me if you don't want. It's fucking bitch. You just saw him. You just saw him as a ghost rip open time and space to talk to you, fight another ghost, and then go back in his body. How are you not understanding that, yes, I am going to have to go to another dimension. Yes, there is a wormhole through this that I need to jump through to get back to the other place. And those are the things that say, oh, never mind, I guess you're just going to leave me again, probably for another woman. And wrapping this whole thing up for the cons list, I got a couple other ones I'm just going to smash together. By the beginning of the third act, where they're kind of getting all their chickens in row and are going to go fight Dormammu, I'm just fucking waiting for it to be done. You can ask my friend that I was there with. He was very interested because he's way more into these kind of things. He read way more comics than I did when I was younger, watched way more cartoons. So he was interested. I was just... like, I was waiting, because after a while, you're just like, okay, you've sucked out everything that you could do. You're not really doing that many magic fights, and whenever this guy does fight, he gets his ass kicked. That's good. That's good that he gets his ass kicked, because they're not making him a supreme being 5 minutes after studying his craft. I understand that. That's good. I understand. But it also leads to very boring scenes where he's just getting the shit kicked out of him. And he's like, I can get it, guys. I can poem and knocked out. And then fucking ghost comes out of his body. And then they got a ghost fight. It was boring, at the same time interesting. But once you introduce magic and fighting and ghosts fighting each other, you have to kind of keep that going. Or else it's like, okay, can we just get to the final boss so I know that this is going to work? And at the very end of the credits, because it's a Marvel movie, very end, this one guy who's been helping him throughout the entire movie, Murdo, something like that, he not backstabs him there, but he quits training under the Ancient One because she was sapping powers from the Dark Dimension, which is completely forbidden. And so instead of saying, look, I don't like what you did, I might start my own dojo and teach people the actual right way and not be corrupt, or doing anything else like that, he goes to all of the other people to suck out their powers because he thinks there's too many magicians or too many sorcerers in the world. I found that very, very hard to understand. And furthermore, he was a complete dickhead because he went after the guy who had paralyzed legs. So he's like, oh yeah, you're actually using your powers, for your own small benefit of walking and living life and maybe getting a boner the correct way instead of strapping on a dildo and just banging somebody like that. Oh, well, I'm gonna take that away. Whoop! And then the guy falls down and he's like all crippled and everything. I'm like, that's kind of a dick move. You could have done that to anybody. You could have taken Doctor Strange's, like when his back was turned, just, okay, looks like I'm out of here. I'm out of here, guys. See you later. So, this is getting really long here. For those of you who have stayed this entire time, I thank you. You're beautiful, you're gorgeous, and if I would have a beer with you if I ever meet you. But this is what I'm going to try to say here. I did not hate it at all. Obviously, I had more cons than I did have pros. But overall, I suggest everybody to shell out the money because this was not as good as Iron Man or Captain America or Thor. I wouldn't even put up near Iron Man and Captain America. No offense, I just didn't enjoy it that much. But it's better than Ant-Man. Again, sorry for those of you who actually liked Ant-Man, thought it was the best thing ever, but I don't give a fuck. I wanted to see Hank Pym. I did not want to see the fucking guy who stole his fucking... But I would shell out the money for it. People who did not have, or who don't know who Doctor Strange is, you might like it way more than I do. It's a lot of my cons kind of had to go back with, okay, I don't like where they took Doctor Strange. I don't like it, but that's just me personally. With putting that aside, I'm gonna have to give this 7 out of 10. So I would say 7.5. It's really hard for me to give it an 8. But I also hate doing the 0.5 measurement because I think only pussies do that, and I ain't no pussy. I'm a man. I drink. I have a beard, and true, I cry when I have sex, but you know what? Only the manliest men are in touch with their feelings at such an intimate moment like that. Okay? Anybody who wants to see this movie, do it. It is worth the money. Anybody who knows Doctor Strange, you might not enjoy it as much because they did switch around a lot of things, but you'll still enjoy it. I still enjoyed it. It's a good movie. Marvel does it again. DC, step your shit up. I really want a good Batman with I was gonna say Matt Damon. What? Whatever. The guy who was Batman before. I want to see a good one because the past 3 Christopher Nolan ones were perfect. I loved them. Don't fuck this up, DC. Okay? Lighten it up a bit. Not everything has to be depressing. But besides that, I want everyone to have a good day. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, whatever, like it, subscribe, subbot me or whatever. I don't fucking know. Have a good day. Have a good drink. Make America drink again.